Hi everybody. I wanted to make that quick video because today I'm so happy. I had an early uh, Easter present. Our friend at Microteamer, Sebastian at Microteamer, has updated and has sent to a few people the beta version of it, the next coming Microteamer 5. And there are a lot of great features inside of that. So you can see here we have a bunch of change element enhancements, some few changes as well, and this is really great. It's so great that I wanted to do that quick video. I cannot help myself but do that to show you everything that is coming. And of course it's beta, so it might even have more features depending on the feedback and so on. So it's really great. uh, just a quick note here. Microteamer sells for $45 for 3 sites and $90 for unlimited website with free upgrades for life. So this is really cheap. There's a free version, by the way, that goes up to 15 selectors for now. Anyway, it might change. Uh, but it's really cheap to have something, such a powerful tool for just $90 for unlimited website and free upgrades for life. As it says here, it will always honor that, but it might change to a yearly plan at some point. And honestly, with all the new features with version 5, this would be a good time to move to. I'm not saying he will do that, but this would be a good time to move to the yearly update. So it is really a good time, honestly, to get that before it goes onto version 5 and maybe a possible uh, annual fee. So go get that. I really encourage you to do that. And of course, as always, if you do that through my link, you will be able to have access to my trainings. So here's my link, microteamer.nelmedia.ca. And you have a link at the homepage, but here you have Microteamer presentation. If you go there, you will have more information. And if you click the Buy Now button, it's automatically my link. And you will have access to a library of more than 30 video tutorials on how to use CSS, first of all, how to use some recommended plugins, and after that, of course, how to use Microteamer with any team. I'm using Microteamer team, of course, in my examples, but you can use that with any teams. And of course, there's more than 30 video, but with the new coming of Microteamer version 5, there are going to be a lot of new video coming in as well, how to use a new version, the differences, and so on. So be there, check that, and of course, if you do register for that, you're going to have access to all those elements. So now let me dive in and just compare the older version with the new one. So here I have a local site with ProStyler Evo, and I'm using the current Microteamer version, which is 4.9, and let me guess, 4.978 from memory. So 4.978, yeah. And I have another installation here with the new ProStyler Revolution. So since we're going new with Microteamer, I'm going new with ProStyler as well. So this is still in beta as well, by the way. So I know that there are a lot of new tools inside the upcoming version that are not in the alpha release. So a lot of new things coming there with Michael Formby giving us that free update as well. So that one is using the newer version of Microteamer, which is the Beta 5. So let me compare them with you. So the older version, this is the older version. If we want to be able to style something, as it says here on the top left, we need to double click on the element. So let's go, for example, for this title here. If I double click on that, I'm going to add a new selector, create a new selector dialog box here on the right side. Now I need to decide which element that I want to target. So the H1, which will target all the H1. If we have other on the page, as you can see, it highlights them as well. Or we can look for a specific H1 and so on. Okay. If you want to have more precision, you can always go inside the inspector and check which element target which thing and try to move in the hierarchy. But that is complicated. And this was one of my comment in the few video tutorials that I did, and of course Sebastian took that into account. So it is a little bit tedious to go there. I'm used with CSS, so I know how it works, but still this is not the easiest way. And often I was ended up with working with two windows open. So my main page like that, where I would go with the Chrome developer tools to be able to target a specific element and know if I want to move up or down, where do I go exactly to see the hierarchy. So for those of you who don't know HTML, do know CSS, this is probably the way that you would do that. For those of you who don't know them, and sometimes you're left with not selecting the right thing and having a little problem with that. But anyway, let's go with that. Then I need to create a new name here for my selector. Let's say site title. And I can select where I want to put that. So for example, in my content or body or something like that. Choosing the right selector, by the way, in this particular case, I would go with that one. And then I need to create my selector. And then I would come here and of course make my modifications. So for example, in this particular case, I could simply change my text color and see how it refreshes the page to show me the update. Let's do the exact same thing now with the newer version of MicroThemer, which is so cool. So here's the new interface. And as it says here, there are three ways to do a selector. You can still double click if you're used to that like I am. You can do the Control Alt I command, and you can simply also click on that little target button here, and then you can mouse over any element. As you can see, it highlights everything that you move your mouse over. So that is so cool. So now I can target this element here, and I even have, take a look here at my top label. As you see, as I mouse over different things, it does change. It does take that into account and tries to give me a new name. So it will create the name automatically for you, by the way. So I can click on that to simply kind of freeze it to that element. Okay. Now you can see the label that it will give me. It will create a label for me. I can also use, if you're more advanced and you want to use the real CSS. So this is the real CSS. So instead of using a kind of comment that will say heading 1, you can always simply say that you want to use that ID with the H1. And that way it will always synchronize it with the real selector. So this is one way of doing that. You can also add some selector adjustments. So this is for CSS3 users like me. If you want to add more effects to that, let's say, if you want to have pseudo elements like hover, like the focus pseudo element, and so on, you pseudo class, sorry. You can also use pseudo element like first child, first of type, last child, and so on. So many of those are CSS3 specific. So this is so cool. You all can also use the page ID, the page name, and so on, and even some pseudo element here after, before, and so on. So this is really, really advanced, and this was something that I needed to be done manually before. No, I won't go into that specifically. You see here that I'm targeting only one element. It tells me right away. So I know that if I'm using that selector, I'm targeting just that one. Okay. I can decide where I want to put that. So we have a general folder. We have different folders here. So I can leave that into general. And I can just click on create selector. But before I do that, I just want to show you first of all that if I move over my little plus button that is there, it shows me the different elements that I can target. So I can target just that element here with that ID. And remember, by the way, ProStyler puts a random ID that will change over and over again. So this is not a good ID in this case because of the way that ProStyler handles IDs. Or I can say standard heading one, which will target all the heading one, the ST text, and it tells me that it will target, in this particular case, 15 elements on the page. This is so cool. So I can click on that, and it will change my element here automatically. I can click on that and change my color just like previously. And look at how quick it does refresh the page. It's even faster, and Sebastian promised to make it even more fast, so even faster. So that is so cool. But one other thing that we can do that is, again, really great, I can target that again. And as you can see now, we have one element that is showing there as well. I can go into the show advance. Now maybe and I have too many things open at the same time. Honestly, the advance for now is pretty slow. Maybe because, like I said, I have too many things open at the same time. But now it includes the inspector, just like you have in Chrome or Firebug. This is so cool. So you can mouse over something and you will see that highlighted at the same time. So, sorry, right now it might be locked. There's a little delay, as you can see, because I have the advanced selector at the top at the same time. So sometimes it's a little bit slow, but you can see that it highlights the code at the top left at the same time where you are and so on. It shows you the style. You can show the style, the computer style, just like the older version. And you also have some targeting suggestion that appears here at the top as well. So this is so cool again because, let me see, for example, if I click on that again, it gives me the different suggestions here that it will target just one element if I use it like that. This way it will target 15 elements, but I also have some other suggestions. If I want to go, for example, with a different class name because it uses a different class and things like that. So this is pretty cool. Let's say, for example, I want to go with the copyright information at the bottom. Okay, so we have here the copyright beta, MicroTeamer beta test. So if I click on that, as you can see here, I'm inside the subfloor ID. Oops, sorry, didn't click it. So the subfloor ID, which is after my footer, I have the class container, I have the class row, I have the class called MD4 copyright. So, and I'm targeting the copyright, the text right there. So I can see all of that with one glance. I can see all of the styles that are applied to that. But like I said, you do have suggestions here. So it suggests me to use the copyright class, which is a good idea. But I can go further. I could say row copyright because I'm inside the row as well. Or I could use the row copyright, the container copyright, sorry, which is just above. Or I can choose many of those different elements, footer wrap copyright, and so on. That will target the exact same element because it's still using the class copyright and only one has that. But if I want to go a little bit further, I can also select the entire div, the subfloor div, which is that div here. And it shows me that I'm going to target 5 elements if I do that. Or I can target all the elements called MD4, which in this case is going to be 28 elements, really too much. And footer wrap div, so everything inside the div, 85 elements in this case. And again, I can just change the elements here to target something else. As you can see, 766 is a lot. Okay, so of course this is not what I want to target, but you can see so many possibilities with that. I no longer need to have two browser open, two window open, to be able to target an element through the inspector. So this is so cool. If I'm targeting the copyright, as you can see, it puts the label for you. You can always change it if you want to, of course. And I'm going to put that inside my footer. Click on Create Selector. And again, for the rest, the way that we handle that, it's pretty similar to what we had in the previous versions. So again, let me, for example, change the background color of that element. Of course, this is not what I would do on a real website, but just to show you what can be done. So this particular case, whoops, My alpha is to 0. That's why we don't see it. All right. So this is what's coming on in the next release of MicroTeamer. This is so exciting for somebody like me that does some manual programming with HTML, with CSS. Also, by the way, there are a couple of new things like the new JavaScript libraries that you can add libraries like jQuery and other libraries as well. This is really cool for somebody like me that does some programming. So it's not because I know how to program a website, how to do that manually, and that I want to do it like that, because of course it's a lot faster to use tools like MicroTeamer, okay, than having to go inside the styles.css and do that manually. And of course, if I do that, first of all, I need to create a child theme, because if I do that directly in the theme, I'm going to lose my changes if we update. So with MicroTeamer, don't have to create a child theme. It will create a separate CSS file, first of all. Great. Secondly, it's visual. So as soon as we do some modifications, it is applied immediately. We can see that immediately. And by the way, I don't think that was existing when I did the first few videos, but you now have, it's true in the version 4.9 as well, you also have a draft mode. So you can do some modifications locally without applying that to the final site, especially if you are working with a live site. This is so great. So that way you can make some changes. I'm going to go with the not advanced mode because it's faster. As you can see, it's really responsive now. So you can select any element. Okay, let's say that I want to target all those. And all of that will not be changed in the final website. So let's say that I want to use, I don't know, Courier font, green one, let's say. And that I can see a preview here, but if I go in the final website, it is not applied yet. Okay, so yes, the styles that I created earlier, I didn't have the draft mode on, so this is applied, but this one is not applied yet. So I can make all my changes, see what it will look like, and once I'm satisfied with that, I can simply go there and toggle off the draft mode, and it's going to apply my changes. So now, if I refresh my page, you will see that all the updates have been applied. So this is another really cool feature. This is already there in the 4.9 series. So this is not something new with 5, but this is really cool. So really a big thumb up to Sebastian. I don't know how he can do all of those things alone, but congratulations for what's coming. I really enjoy that, and I'm gonna enjoy working and playing with MicroTeamer. So I hope you will too. Don't forget to buy the final version. That will help the developer a lot, of course. And don't forget that it's really the good time now, because it's updates for life, which is really, really cool. And by the way, some people are asking, I'm not affiliated with MicroTeamer in any way. I'm just a big fan because that's a wonderful product, and I really encourage you to use that. But that's the only affiliation that I have with Sebastian's. But maybe at some point he will include my training video, so you can have the possibilities of having more and more training with that. So hopefully you'll find that as exciting as I am. And I wish to wish everybody a happy Easter. Thank you.